the purpose the purpose of these sessions is for you to be motivated to start your own entrepreneurial journey by listening to the journey of our panelists, their experiences, and hopefully that'll motivate you to start your own business. My name is Navida Kadir. I'm the executive director and co-founder of WinStep Forward. And I'd like to introduce Manali Ghosh. She's the Global STEM Operations Director at WinStep Forward. We're one of the nonprofits that's co-hosting this event. And WinStep Forward, do you want to go to the next slide, Manali, please? WinStep Forward, what we do is we promote science and technology exchange. Historically, we've done it between the United States and India. And what you may have heard about WinStep Forward, you may have heard of our bilateral student exchange programs between the US and India. Our Harana exchange program, we started in 2007, our SN-BOSE exchange program. These are both exchange programs where students from India come to the United States every summer, and they intern at some of the best labs here in the US for the summer. And then in 2015, we started a program called Science and Research Opportunities in India. That is a platform for graduate students and postgrads here in the United States of Indian origin. We try to help connect them with careers in India. So we try to help connect them to funding. We try to help connect them to academic positions. So if you would like to know more about that program, you can go to their website, sciroi.net. And currently what we're doing is we're expanding into other areas such as entrepreneurship. And that brings us to this event. We partnered with a nonprofit that helps to launch entrepreneurs. That is Women's Empowerment Campaign. And they are a nonprofit based in Chicago, Illinois. And they are a networking and empowerment platform for Indian and South Asian women entrepreneurs. So they are our event co-sponsor. And at this point, I would like to introduce Dr. Anuja Gupta. She is one of the co-founders of Women's Empowerment Campaign. And she's actually a highly successful entrepreneur herself. So Dr. Gupta was a cardiologist for 10 years in Chicago, and then she switched full-time to becoming a real estate investor, and she went into real estate development. Manali, could you go back to the previous slide? Yeah, thank you. She has a very successful real estate portfolio now, and currently she's the managing partner at Veranda Retirement Community, which is a $43 million senior living development in Schaumburg, Illinois. And she's also, like I said, the co-founder of Women's Empowerment Campaign. And she's also a community service leader. She's very active in the community. So she co-founded Voices of Indian Americans, which is a civic engagement platform. And she's a board member of the Tiskon Temple in Chicago. As you can see, she has won several leadership awards in 2018, 2019, 2020. The Daily Herald awarded her the Entrepreneurial Excellence Award. Cook County awarded her the Asian Leadership Award. And then she was also Daily Herald's Influential Women in Business in 2018. So I'd like to welcome Dr. Anuja Gupta. She is also the moderator for our 4-part series. Anuja, welcome.
Thank you, Navida. Thank you for the opportunity.
And at this point, I would like to introduce our top woman entrepreneur for today's session, Taj Cottage founder and owner, Rachna Chandra. So Rachna, she's the creator and designer of her own fashion label, Taj Cottage. But she has her own storefront in Farmington Hills, Michigan. It is a bridal boutique. But she also is an expert in industrial design. So she designed soft trim interiors for the automotive industry, and she led a industrial design program at Henry Ford College. I believe currently she will be the lead industrial sewing instructor for a nonprofit called Zamzam International. She's also the co-founder of Detroit Women's Association, and a board member of the Glamorous Mom Foundation. And the Glamorous Mom Foundation, it helps disadvantaged families, provides aid to disadvantaged families. And I think one of her most recent achievements was she was invited to showcase her own fashion line at the New York Fashion Week. So Rachna, what an exciting opportunity. And we are so glad that to have you here today. I will go ahead and hand it over to our moderator, Anuja, and also to Rachna. Thank you both so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Navida.
Thank you, Navida. Welcome, Rachna. It's a pleasure to be moderating this session. I thought today's session was particularly interesting because there are so many women, so many of us, we just love fashion and to be able to design some of our own clothes. But it's always been very intriguing to me how people turn that hobby of fashion design to a viable business. And so your story, how you did that and sharing it with the other people in the session, I think is very valuable. So I'd like for you to start with like how you started with the idea, how long it's been to get to this point, and like tell us the story of your journey so far.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you for having me first. This is very exciting, and hopefully I can empower some of you to do your own journey as I did. And thank you, Anija and Navida, for a warm welcome, and Manali as well. Well, my label or my brand, I just started with an idea from a teenager dream. When I was a teenager and I wanted to go to National Institute of Fashion Technology in Delhi, I told my parents or I asked them that I would like to go there and pursue my bachelor's or do that program. Well, this was in 1990. So back then, my parents were a little bit hesitant for me to send alone to Delhi. I'm from Agra, which was not far though, but still they were a little bit hesitant. And being the older sibling of three other sisters, it was kind of hard financially too. So that didn't happen, but I always had the dream that I wanted to be an entrepreneur and have my fashion label. And then when I migrated in 97 with my husband to USA, and after the green card struggle and not whatnot, then started the family in 2004 with my daughter. So I quit my job to take care of my little one. Then I'm like, you know what? This is the right moment now that since I'm home, let me pursue this idea and dream. So it just started one day, signed up the company, and out of my garage, I did my first exhibition. So moving from garage to basement, then to a bigger basement, still taking care of my two kids. Um, I didn't leave them in daycare. I didn't had a heart to leave them in a daycare. So I was still working with them along with the business. And in 2019, I opened my storefront. So that was a little bit of my journey. But meanwhile, doing all this, I have spearheaded the industrial sewing program as well at Henry Ford College and taught that for 3 years or so, where we used to train workforce to be employed in the sewing field. Now, some people don't understand the part of industrial sewing. So it's a little bit different than home sewing, which I'll discuss it later and further down the road. So, but yeah, that's a little bit of my journey and my bio.
Okay, so you said you started your first exhibition was in 2004, and then to your basement, then to a bigger basement, and to the storefront. And in what year was the storefront?
Storefront was in 2019.
Okay.
I quit my corporate soft trim job, and I'm like, I think I'm not doing justice to my brand being in the basement, and kids are grown up now. They don't need me as much. So that was the right time. So I just opened the storefront in 2019. So basically 14 years I worked out of my home.
Okay. And were you when you quit your job, were you at a point where you were like financially stable from your storefront, or was that still in its beginning phases?
No, it's been 14 years brand in 2019. So it was quite stable. I've created that label, that brand name in the community and everything. But there is always ups and downs being being out of your home and being in a storefront.
Sure.
But uh, it just happened that I decided, this is the right time that I should do it. And it's always challenging being a mom and raising two kids.
Yeah, yes. Tell us some of like the biggest highlights of your career so far.
So a biggest highlight was that when I started this industrial sewing program at Henry Ford College, that was like one of those things that I felt really good about training the workforce and empowering people to find a livelihood, to make a livelihood and earn some money. So that was really fulfilling deep inside within me that I could help somebody. And with my brand, it's always so nice to see people dressing up and my clients with a happy face, and uh, they just love it.
Yeah, I'm sure. Can you give us an idea now how big your business is? How many people are in the team, and some idea of what your revenues are?
There's a couple of helpers at the storefront, including myself, and then of course there is a e-commerce section of it, a website team which works with that, the bookkeeping, accounting, all those part goes with the any business. And then I have a team of artisans in India. I have a
Okay.
manager, and then I have my small production where my designs are created. So that's the back home part.
Are all your clothes still manufactured in India?
Yes,
Okay.
we
Uh,
do. I do have a couple of seamstress who work locally to take care of the alterations and the other stuff, but it's all produced in India.
okay. A lot of people are daunted by the logistics of like having a production team in India and having a storefront somewhere in remotely like the United States for us. Did you always want it that way to have the production team in India? I guess it's Indian clothes, so the natural place for them to be manufactured is India.
Yeah, see, I wish I could have a team here and I can produce here. It will be much easier. It's a lot easier now with the WhatsApp and all these technology things. Earlier when I started, it was really hard. You have to click a picture from your camera, download it, and then upload it in an email and send it and design it. So it was a lot of time consuming to design anything. It's a piece of cake now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you said that you have a manager back in India who manages the Indian operation of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that like a partner, or is it one of someone you employ?
No, someone I employ.
Okay. So you're the only boss of it.
Yes, yeah, I'm the only boss of it. Yeah, he does his own work too, but mainly he works for me.
Okay. And do you sell just your own design, or you sell other designers' designs as well?
I combine. So, I mean, some clients of mine love my design, but not everybody would be willing to wear my designs or my style. But yeah, so I combine. I buy some things from supplier like jewelry, shoes, accessories. I have a shoe line also for my brand with matching purses, and usually brides like to wear matching everything, so it's especially for them. But yeah, I do combine. I buy from suppliers too.
Okay. And we want to give the participants an idea of like what it takes to like go from an idea to a viable business. So you said it took you about 14 years from the time you had the idea. You were also raising a very young family, and we know how long that takes. But can you, for the benefit of the participants, give them an idea of like how long could someone expect, and starting off with an idea like this and taking it to a storefront and making it a viable business?
See, nowadays you don't really have to have a storefront, especially in the pandemic, things have moved so virtual and e-commerce is just flourishing. So you could do one of those two. You could have a warehouse and, you could operate out of there. Um, my struggle was that I was working part-time and doing my business part-time and then, taking care of kids. So that was the hardest part. I should have put my foot in one boat. But when Henry Ford opportunity came for industrial sewing, it was my another passion that I love to sew. So, I couldn't resist.
Okay.
And then and I moved to corporate after that. So I'll be very honest, moving to corporate was a big, big mistake for me. I'm not a
Okay.
corporate person. So I only survived 18 months. And then I realized that I'm building somebody else's dream. So let me just go back and build mine. And being
Okay.
an entrepreneur and starting something, it's not uphill. It's a flat plateau first, then it moves gradually. There might be some zigzags. So a good brand to settle can take from a year to 3 years, where you really see that you have fulfilled your dream. And if you're
Okay.
lucky enough to have it within a year, hey, it works for you, yeah, well and good. I think nowadays, because of the resources and the connections, and the millennials are very smart nowadays. So I think they grasp and they do think quicker. What
Sure.
I have done, because of limited technology and resources. In 2005, when I started, Google was not a big thing, so it was hard to even find suppliers sitting from here. I couldn't visit India very often because I had little ones.
Sure.
Even if I take them with me, it's not a business trip.
True. True. Um, like you mentioned, making instead of it being a storefront, it could have been just an e-commerce brand. Not just an, but I mean that it could have been an e-commerce brand and done just as well. Even back home in India now, a lot of brands are just e-commerce brands and they don't necessarily have a storefront. Uh, for the participants who are, a lot of them are younger people, many of them from STEM, many of them just toying with this idea, and they have this hobby of designing clothes, and instead of like going about it the traditional route of having the storefront employees and inventory and all of that, it seems to me that having just uh, online presence with an e-commerce platform just seems like such an easier way to go about it.
It's easier, but if you are satisfied with that idea, you have to be, see, being an entrepreneur, the whole story is that you have to be mentally satisfied. That's your meditation. If it doesn't help you, you will never be able to be at rest with your passion. So if, for me, yeah, I have a website. I do have that part also, very limited on e-commerce on my website. First of all, Indian outfits and fabrics and all, people want to touch and feel.
Sure.
So they want to try it, they want to touch and feel. In pandemic time, I have tried to sell virtually, trying to sustain and all that. It did work. I sustained, but it was hard. It was hard for me to sell something like that.
I
I
can
really,
imagine. Yeah.
yeah, I, I'm a visual person too. So I want my clients to see the stuff, check it out in the mirror, try it, at least 10 designs, and say, you know what, out of all these 15s, I would like you to design something special for me. So
I guess online platforms are still very good for spreading brand awareness or promoting your brand and making it more known. But yeah, you're right. I think when it comes to especially bridal, people would want to come into the store and try it on and, like you said, touch it and feel it.
yeah, I mean, until you're buying with Shamal Bhumika, yeah, then you can buy those thousands of dollars of an outfit. Well, you can afford it, good for you. But if you want something looking like that, and if you need something which fits in your budget, that's where small businesses like us come in picture. And then I help the brides. brides do come with me all the screenshots and everything, and hey, like, I want this color, I want this embroidery. So I have to help them design something in their budget. And it's always exciting to see the client satisfaction.
Sure. From what I understand, Farmington Hills is a community with not too many Indians, not at least not compared to like Chicago or New York or New Jersey. Was that challenging for you to develop an Indian bridal brand in a environment where there's like a limited number of Indian clients?
Indian population has increased a lot in Michigan since 2005,
Okay.
and Farmington Hills being one of the hub also for Indian population. It's
Okay.
not comparable to Chicago and Jersey, for sure. We are a very small community over here. Everybody knows everyone pretty much. So it was mainly in the beginning for me, it was word of mouth.
Okay.
And since I was still marketing myself and learning how to build a brand without any professional degree of a MBA or a fashion degree, I was still, trying to establish myself, whatever time I could find. It was a little bit challenging, yeah, for sure. Yeah. But being after a storefront and with the help of Google search nowadays and with all this stuff, WhatsApp and instant messaging, it's pretty easy. It's pretty easy for anyone to do anything right now.
Okay. How many people just roughly come to your store on an average day?
That's very hard to say. It all depends. Of
I
course,
guess the seasonal variance can be so much in bridal season, for example, in wedding season.
wedding season is always there. There is winter wedding, there is summer weddings. Summer weddings
Okay,
are more in Michigan than winter weddings for sure. But for summer weddings, brides start shopping in January. For winter wedding, they start shopping in
sure,
June.
sure.
Um, I mean, on an average, sometimes there is like even 5 people in the store. And I don't have a very big store; it's 1,000 square feet, fully decorated boutique and nicely done. So I cannot accommodate a lot of people too. But
Sure.
most of the people who want my personal attention, they actually do appointments.
Okay. And how long did it take for the store, for the business to become financially viable? By that, I mean, like when you got the storefront, you had rent and utilities, and you have helpers, their payroll. How long did it take for that to like become self-sustaining and pay for itself?
That was not hard because I already had the brand.
Okay.
So it was already sustainable. It was already there. It just I had to move location.
Okay.
So that was not hard.
Okay.
Initially, it was hard when I started the brand. I didn't had overhead, so because out of my home, so that was kind of easy. So baby steps always help from in being an entrepreneur in your own idea. So take small steps. If you think you have $1 million idea and you think you have the financial support to do it, I mean, go for it. I'm a risk taker. I take all kind of risk. And then my husband is like, please back off. What are you doing?
Sure. Sure. You mentioned not having a fashion degree or an MBA to like, be able to market this kind of business. How important do you think it is to have that formal degree?
It is important. It's important. I'm self-taught from the beginning, being from elementary school, started sewing with my mom and learned in high school, and always had that passion to create something new. I mean, I have sewn outfits for myself, my sisters, you name it, I did everything. So, it's very important. If you have that education, is quicker. You
Much
already have that
faster.
knowledge, yeah. So it's quicker. So you're not struggling with the basics. You just build upon that.
Okay. Um, Approximately, can you give us a rough estimate of how many hours a week you work at this in this part of your business?
Right now, I work, I would say 12 to 15 hours a day for this.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah. So being an entrepreneur is not easy. Being your
Sure.
own boss is fun, but it's not easy.
Sure.
You have to be a workaholic basically to
Sure. Yeah. It's a 24/7 job, like everyone says it is. What do you think are some of the biggest challenges?
being an entrepreneur. Biggest challenge, huh, well, I love challenges, so I overcome pretty much everything. But it's that if you have a 9 to 5 job, you come home and you forget about everything. You shut your mind, you shut your car, and you shut your laptop, and you're done. So that's the biggest challenge, that if there is a emergency or something you have to take care. For example, Monday I'm closed. Now sometime my clients are like, I have only Monday, can I meet you? Yeah, so if you're working for somebody else, that's a day off for you, but I am my own boss, so I have to take care of my clients.
Sure. What were some of your other big challenges in your journey?
My biggest challenge, I would say, was a little bit of struggle between raising a family and trying to pursue my passion and live up my dream. So it's still challenging with two high schoolers now, but when they were little, it was more challenging. My husband helped me a lot, and I don't have any family here, so it's just me and my kids and my husband. So he helps me a lot in a lot of things, from babysitting to cooking to everything. So
Sure.
yeah. Yeah, so being a woman, being a mom, it's very challenging to balance everything.
Yeah. Uh, Work-life balance is something that all of us struggle with. I personally think there is no balance. You just do what you need to do. Balance is a nice fancy word, which hardly no one I know ever accomplishes it. Um,
You have to make your priorities. You have to prioritize your stuff. You have to have a
yeah,
schedule. You have to have your day plan, week plan, month plan. I plan yearly, I plan monthly, and then that's how it works. Without any planning, you cannot be your own boss, and you'll be miserable.
sure. Yeah. So your journey, it seemed like you took it gradually from your home to the basement, another basement, then the storefront, and your online brand. Many of the participants are STEM students who are in either in college or postgraduate studies and just contemplating this idea of starting a business. Um, it's of course a risk trying to do both at the same time, even not having a family but having like a full-time, like you remember when we were in college having like a full-time course and then still finding the time to like nurture your hobby to a point where you think like someday you can convert it into a business. What advice would you give those people?
I would say if you have a dream and you want to live to that dream, you can start anywhere, any age, any point in life. I started after I had my daughter. So no big deal, you can start, but start slow, start small. It's okay to take risk, but as I said, entrepreneur journey is a very zigzag path. And sometimes you can go downhill and uphill in a moment. So you don't want to be losing the money or your mental peace. So start small, start slow, and you will see when you start something, you will see that where you're lacking, where you have to improve, which area you should concentrate more. For example, yesterday there was a shoplifting theft in my store. So now I'm struggling with that part to add more security to my business. Being in this field for so many years, you still think, you have gotten all, you are fully protected. No, you're not. You're still learning. And I believe my mantra is that you have to be a student lifelong. If you think that you have learned everything, then you're Bhagwan, you're not human. So start slow, start small, take small steps. You cannot do everything on your own. Please find help to whoever way, whichever they can help you, whatever field you are going to be working in, regardless, being your own boss or working for somebody else. So not to try do I have tried that, and it's very hard to try to do everything on my own. It's just that something sometimes I could not afford it. I was still establishing, and but slowly, I learned that it's okay to hire people and have somebody do some stuff for you. Maybe you can cut that expense somewhere else, balance that part. So yeah, the advice will be start small and start slow, especially when you're an entrepreneur.
Okay. Not being from the field myself, I don't know how competitive your particular field is, but are there a lot of designers in the US for Indian bridal wear?
There might be out of Michigan, especially with the bigger population states like Jersey, New York, California, Chicago also. Competition is tough and the quality has deteriorated a lot since the catalog fashion came in. Um, there's a tough competition to sell your stuff, which is the high quality, sustainable fashion compared to low quality stuff, which is cheaper.
Hmm. Hmm.
People come to my store, they look at the tag. It's very beautiful, very nice, feels very good on the body. Why it's so pricey? That's the reason, because it's priced, because it feels good, it feels nice, and that's the quality.
So you have to educate the people about
Yes.
why the costs are so high. Yes. Yeah. As entrepreneurs, we all face that.
Yeah, and then my designs are exclusive. You will not see two people or five people walking in the same party with the same dress, what you bought off the catalog. Nothing
Uh,
against them, but it's just that everybody has their own customers and own niche. So my
um,
customers are different than what the catalog people have.
okay. And are most of your clients local from the area, or do you get from the other parts of the United States also?
I get clients even from Chicago. You'll be surprised.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't want to go to Devon Street.
Okay.
Some of them drive to me. I have a lot of clientele in Ohio,
Okay.
neighboring state, Pennsylvania.
So around the Midwest.
Yeah, Midwest pretty much. Yes, yeah. Uh,
Okay.
from Michigan is itself is a big state, so people drive from all over, or they do virtual nowadays. But most of the people do come to me. They drive.
Okay. And where do you hope to take the brand in, let's say, 5 years from now?
Well, that's another thing. You have to dream, keep on dreaming. So I wish I can have a couple more storefront in maybe some more states, but I need somebody who can do justice to my brand, who can copy me and help me out and then open that store and then do justice. I just don't want to open a storefront, another or chain stores for the sake of money.
Okay.
If I'm not maintaining that, then the brand value goes away.
Sure. How much do you think you could grow it online?
I can grow it online. Let's see, I started working towards that during the pandemic time. Um, but I said, that doesn't satisfy me.
Okay.
Yeah. So
So
that's why,
you're happier with the store, the people coming in. You probably really enjoy the social experience of it. And like you said, people from many places will drive many hours to come to the storefront. That must feel special.
yeah, yep, exactly. Yeah. If I would have enjoyed the e-commerce, I would have done it long time back.
Okay.
I've been around for 16 years. This August, it will be 16 years for Taj Cottage. So, I could have done it long time back.
Okay. Um, and I saw in your resume that you recently showed at New York Fashion Week. That sounds like a highlight of your career. Tell us a bit about that.
Yes, that was a dream come true, actually. I've been applying and trying for New York Fashion Week for a couple of years now, before the pandemic. And actually, I did a mask mission during the pandemic when the pandemic started. So we started sewing and donating masks to nationwide. Probably some of you saw all that going around. Especially Anuja, you're connected quite a lot with me on Facebook. So with that mission, a magazine from New York reached out to me to design a designer mask rather than a regular one.
Okay.
So that was my first fancy designer hot pink mask designed for that magazine. And it was showcased in that fashion magazine in LA and New York. Then the same company reached out to me in February, is asking to join, request to join the New York Fashion Week. So I'm like, all right, this is icing on the cake. Let's do it. It was very stressful. I'll be very upfront here. It was very stressful to take a team of models and a photographer. I had my own team. I traveled with my own team and a modeling coach and all that to New York in the pandemic. And but I did it. I took the risk. I took the challenge. Um, and it was pretty exciting to do the New York Fashion Week. It was not a live show, it was virtual, it was on Amazon. But it was a dream come true with that.
I haven't heard of too many other Indian designers being invited to show in New York Fashion Week. Were you just one of very few of them?
I would say yes. Yeah. With this company, there was not any other Indian designer for sure. Um, I have seen some Indian designers with some companies in New York who do the New York Fashion Week, but they are more of a fusion style,
Mm.
and some of them are accessories. I'm forgetting the name. I saw this one guy, he has the high luxury handbags.
Okay.
So he was in one of the New York Fashion Week in February. So there's only a few of them. Yeah, you won't see a lot of Indian designers.
Okay. So you mentioned like in 3 to 5 years, you hope to have a few more storefronts in other cities and also grow your business online. Um, how much do you think you could scale your business?
Well, it's endless. You could do whatever you like. You can branch it out. I branched out once I opened my storefront in 2019. I branched out in shoes and purses, custom made shoes and purses.
Okay,
So you can branch out. I love to design fusion. So mix the embroidery and fabrics and, play with it and make fusion styles. I love to do that. I love to wear fusion stuff too. And I think it's very versatile. Fusion, you can style it anyway. So you can branch out in a lot of ways. And a part of my business also does fashion shows under my label.
okay,
So I represent my own collection at least 2 to 3 times a year, as well as I host fashion shows, events like, hopefully this one is coming back soon. But before the pandemic, I was ready to host the Lift event, the luxury fashion tour event. And we were hosting Shamal Bhumika and Neeta Lula from India. So that's a part of branching also. And that creates more brand awareness when you get
sure.
associated with bigger people, bigger brands too. So you have to think sometime out of the box, how you can do, how you can be different, since there is so much competition in every field.
Sure.
You won't be unique in the world doing only one thing, but you have to think out of the box how you can be different.
Again, not being from the field, has it been possible for local Indian designers to make it mainstream in the US, like their designs to be showcased in department stores?
I think so. Yeah,
Have you heard of any?
I think so. I'm not recalling the name, but I think I have seen labels in commercial stores,
Okay.
especially probably in Macy's. I think I have seen.
That would seem like a big leap forward.
That's in my planning directory right now
Okay.
for Macy's. I have not gotten there yet. Let's see.
And what would it take for you from your current level to get to that kind of step?
It will take a lot of my time. It will take a lot of my dedication, and there's a lot of paperwork. So
Sure.
yeah, so it's a lot of. I'm doing the research on it and taking baby steps, moving towards it. Yeah, but that would be my another 3 to 5 year plan.
Very nice. Very nice. Um, I think we're ready for questions from the audience, Manali.
Uh, Thank you, Rachna and Anuja, for this interesting conversation so far. So we have a question from our audience, and so it's like, as you mentioned, there had been ups and downs during the journey, Rachna. So can you give some suggestions on how to stay motivated when things are not working out while pursuing the dream?
Well, my mantra is that whatever happens, happens for good. If you keep that positive thought in your mind and take it with a positive attitude, yeah, it feels sad, you're demotivated sometime, but one of those days, whatever you're feeling, if you're feeling low, if you're feeling horrible and nothing is working, what makes you happy? You think cooking makes you happy, doing yoga makes you happy, some people like to meditate, that makes them happy. If I sew, that makes me happy. So I try to motivate myself and say, whatever happens, happens for good. Learn from it and move on. Learn your lesson, how this could have been avoided, and move on with the positive attitude.
We talked about this a little bit in the last session too, that failure is just a normal part of any business. Uh, Especially we as women, we tend to put too much importance to failure. Men and women perceive failure as very different things. And even from my own family, my husband, I have learned how to like not let failure bring me down to the extent that it used to. A lot about this is having a control over our emotions rather than a lack of business control. And over the years, even myself, I feel I've been able to like convince myself to deal with failure a lot more positively than I used to be.
Yeah, and it's a part of anybody's life. Doesn't have to be an entrepreneur. If you're working for somebody else, also, if you're doing a job, that's a part of it. So you just have to learn how to cope up and how to
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah.
Do whatever makes you happy. Sit quiet for yourself if that makes you happy for 5-10 minutes. Do whatever makes you feel happy. Just get away from that situation for a while and come back to it. My father has always taught me, if you're having a problem in the math, you know come visit it again. Leave it for now, because your mind is again doing the same thing, you're making that same mistake again and again. So come back to it with a fresh mind.
Sure.
Um, Thank you. On that philosophical note, I have a question from Ravi, which is also on that side. So, after listening to your life journey, what success means to you?
For me as a designer, success means seeing a happy client. For me, success never was how much money I have in my bank. If I have changed a life, if I have empowered someone, if I have felt or made somebody happy, that's success for me.
Very nice.
I like that you keep them, within the reach, right? So when you actually reach the your goal, like that's a feeling of real pleasure, right? So that sounds very nice.
Yeah, and it's always mentally satisfying, and that's how it should be. Being an entrepreneur or not being an entrepreneur, again, if you are not mentally satisfied, if your heart is not full, if you feel miserable doing anything, then that's not success. You have $1 million in your bank, you have so much amount in your whatever, but are you happy?
Mm-hmm.
At
Yeah.
the end of the day, are you happy? That's the big $1 million question.
I want to add here that I think similarly. For me, it's always living life at my own terms, and irrespective of the bank balance, I feel what makes me happy is like setting my own goals, accomplishing them in my own way, and keep moving forward.
Exactly.
So I have another question here. Sometimes it is difficult to get started, especially in acquiring funds for the initial investment. So what can be some possible ways to get funds to get started without creating holes in pocket?
So there's always small business loans available through, if you have a credit, you can go to any bank and get those SBA loans are there. There is even grants, your county, your state, or even SBA. There's certain grants. You just have to educate yourself. You can actually talk to the county you live in, the county people. There is every county, every state has like a economic development section, a department, I should say. So you can always consult with them, and they connect you who can loan you money if you're a startup. Usually, it's very hard to have a loan for a startup. So you can always connect to these government authorities for help and ideas. They will even help you how to do bookkeeping or connect you to the people who can do it. They have all kind of databases. If you have something personal I can share is, when I started my storefront, I needed money to build that store
Mhm.
according to my taste. It's a very luxury high style boutique I have built. So my husband helped me. Instead of taking loan for my business side, he helped me taking a loan from home equity. But I would not suggest that part. I just did it. The reason is that if you have a business loan, you can write off a lot of things in your loans, in your taxes. So just be very careful that where you borrow the money from, and consult with your accountant too, a CPA especially, how you can write off things, especially in a startup or where you're investing currently.
Manali, I saw that you shared the SBA website. The Small Business Administration is an excellent resource for entrepreneurs, especially starting out. I've personally taken an SBA loan in the beginning of my entrepreneurial journey, and looking back, I think it's priceless to have resources like that.
Mhm.
For women, there's also the Women's Business Development Center, WBDC, and they have many resources, including mentors who will one-on-one connect you with funding resources to get that initial startup money.
Yeah. And they have now started a new website called Accent, especially for women entrepreneurs. So just wanted to add this up to bring for everyone, for all our participants, that we will be accumulating these excellent resources and putting them up on the Winstep Forward website. So please, we'll also share the link, but please do check those out if you are planning to, you have an idea and you're planning to start soon, or just for educational purposes. So yeah, thank you. Did you want to add anything else from your personal experience, Anuja, like funding funds other than SBA, like if you have any other resources that you tried?
Yeah, most of the initial funds for many people I know come from friends and family, and you have to balance it with being able to repay it back in a reasonable manner. But that is some of the most lowest money you can get. To get a loan from a commercial source, you have to be able to demonstrate that your idea is viable. Anybody looking to give you a loan, any commercial source who's looking to give you a loan, is going to look for that. It's going to look for like how you're going to repay this loan back in the future. So you have to get your business to that stage before you go looking for commercial loan. But the for a lot of people, the money before that comes from friends and family.
Okay. I think that's a common theme that's come up for both our sessions. With that, I'll just go to a different area. And Madhu has asked to both of you, who has been your greatest inspiration so far? And in that course, did you have a mentor as well while you were starting or growing your business?
Well, for me, the greatest inspiration was growing up was my teacher who used to teach sewing in high school. And I didn't really had a mentor, but my parents have always, my family back in India has always been very, very supportive initially when I started. So they used to take care of my India part of production, and initially when I was starting finance, and then all the production and everything. My mom used to especially take care of all that. So family support is the biggest help, and it's unconditional. So you can have that, take advantage of that part. Um, my inspirational designer is Manish Malhotra, if you ask me. So I that's my dream if I can meet him one day. Apart from that, you have to be self motivated. You have to be self motivated, very positive in being an entrepreneur journey.
Agree. For me, the my story was a bit different. I was actually a practicing physician, and I thought I was quite happy with where I was in life. I remember, like, I think it was like about 33, 34 years of age. I'd graduated from all my medical studies and finally started a medical practice in cardiology, doing quite well for myself, and just bought our first big house. And it was, I thought I was in a really good place. And then just randomly, I attended a seminar by a company called Rich Dad Poor Dad, where they talk about financial education, being really financially independent, and what it takes to get there. And to my big surprise, doctors and other highly paid professionals were being shown as the poster children of a lack of financial independence. And that was the first time that kind of eye opener I had come across. And as I started thinking about it, about long term wealth creation, I realized that the path I was on of like being a physician, having a daily job, and bringing in a certain income was at some point going to be limiting in where I wanted to get in my life. And as I explored more options about what people do to have like unlimited wealth. I don't have unlimited wealth, but I think I'm on the way there. Is being in something like real estate or in the stock market or things like that. So for me, that was the inspiration. Just came randomly, unsolicited. I wasn't looking for it. I thought I was doing quite well, but that's how the inspiration came. And then, like Rachna said, you got to be motivated and inspired and self-driven. To be an entrepreneur, I think self-drive is like the biggest pusher. If you're like one of those people who is happy being in a job, then that is your calling, happy to be in a job. But if you're in a job and feeling unsatisfied and feeling unfulfilled and feeling like you can be more impactful, you can be bigger, your growth could be much higher. Uh, you need that kind of self drive to push yourself into entrepreneurship.
Again, another factor which has come up quite a few times till now, self drive, motivation, being self focused, having that grit and tenacity, hard work are all of these that have come up for anyone who wants to be an entrepreneur. So, thank you for those advices.
Those are the words which should be in an entrepreneur dictionary.
Yeah, yes, those are the starting words. I would say grit and tenacity. You start with an idea, the passion, all of that can fizzle out quickly as soon as the big obstacles come. You got to have grit and you got to have tenacity to overcome those initial obstacles. Otherwise, you'll not get anywhere.
Hmm.
You have to be ready. Being an entrepreneur, you have to be ready for any challenge, and if that demotivates you, then probably that's not you.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'll keep requesting our participants to please post your questions. We'll keep answering those as long as we can. And uh, while they are doing that, I have one more question for both of you. Do you see common mistakes or that budding entrepreneurs make? Um, and what would be your suggestions probably to, now from your experience, what would you tell them that they can do to avoid those maybe?
See, nowadays kids or the millennial age or the people who are in their 20s think that everything can happen in an instant. Everything is a click. And Aladdin Chirag will happen and the jinn will appear. No, it's nothing like that. You have to really work your butt off to do something in life. Sorry for my language, but it's that's how hard you have to work. It's not easy. It's helpful with all the resources and all. It's just not easy. So be ready to work hard.
I would add that I've seen a lot of people give up too easily, be talked out of good ideas they've had. You have to be careful of whose advice you seek and whose advice you take, especially whose advice you internalize. I know many people who have had great ideas, they've been talked out of it by friends and even well intended family members who know next to nothing about that idea, and just talking people out of good ideas. You got to have conviction in your idea, and you've got to give it some time. In general, I feel like 6 to 12 months is good enough time. It's not too long to put into an idea, but it's enough to like try out if your idea is going to work or not. And especially at a young age, you can give 6 months, 12 months of your life to trying out the idea, I feel. So I feel like, not taking advice from the wrong people, surrounding yourself with the right people, and not giving up too quickly.
The company, the surrounding, you are, your friend circle. As I teach my two teenager kids, who you hang out with is most important, because they actually make your day, or make your day good or make your day bad. So your company is very important. Who are you talking to? Who are your friends? Who are your people? Who's demotivating you? If that sentence bothers you, or that person is not doing any good to you, I would say stay away. So that's adding to Anuja's sentences, watch who are you taking advice with.
My advice would to especially young people would be like, try to find the most good, accomplished, successful people you can find. You know what they say about that, your company is 90% of what you are about. It really is true. Being in the right company, I don't think of, I can't think of one example where that has had any downside, but I've seen plenty of people who, just being in the wrong company, they lost their good potential, they lost their good chance, they lost their drive, their motivation, their inspiration. And so it can make that kind of difference, like Rachna said, can make you or break you.
So for the young individuals, my highly advice would be that things doesn't happen in an instant or in a click. How we operate on our phones and computers, it takes time.
Mhm.
And be patient with it. It takes time.
Thank you. I would like to now ask our attendees if you have any question that you would like to ask in person, you can raise your hand and we can allow you to talk and you can ask your question to Rachna or Anuja. Um, okay, so we have one. So let me. So, yes, Ravi, if you would like to unmute yourself and ask your question.
Okay. Hello.
Yes, Ravi, we can hear you.
Okay. Thank you for giving me a chance to ask a question. So it's like a normal question everyone like had in like undergrad, graduate studies. So how the first question is, so I am like from a chemistry graduate student. So how is the life? Means I'm not like bothered about the life after graduation. Means I know means. So how it's difficult for like a science students to move to the not to move to the like the entrepreneurship, just to find a good mentor, because when as like the Rachna, like your life journey, my journey is also like similar. It's I'm not from like a wealthy family, so it's very hard to come to at this point. I'm proud of it, means whatever I achieved in life. So the thing is that how to find a good mentor. That's why it's my first experience to to like a talk to attend some seminar about that, because initially I was reading some like scientific books, means whatever I have to study. So 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 I hope I came to the right place, and hopefully I will get something from here. Means if so, my question is that as a like a mentor, means how means will this platform can be provide me someone means to guide me to because I'm still young, means it's not that I have, but I want to explore this field. For as everyone says that you have to explore early and get to it. If you like it, then you will achieve very big thing in life. So that's my question is.
Hi, Ravi. Nice to have you here. Answering to your question, let me tell you a little bit about my journey. I'm a biology graduate from India, so I have a science background too. My dad wanted me to become a doctor. I tried, but that was not me. Okay, so I didn't become a doctor. And I'm glad I didn't. Then I did my IT degree. I came to the States, I did my IT degree. I hated it. I never worked in IT. Now I'm here with the successful business, a brand in fashion. So I have changed path 3 times from corporate to IT to biology. So what drives you is what makes you, what you like. Finding a mentor, who do you talk to? Who do you like to talk to? You think somebody, your dad, your sister, your teacher, your friend, you think they are giving you right advice. You think their words sounds somewhat pleasant to your ears, somewhat aligning with your ideas. And I think Manali and these ladies can help you. I think we are planning to do some mentorship over here too, so you can stay connected to us as well over here. And I would be helpful. I mean, I will be glad to help any of you. Maybe Anuja can add something to this.
Yeah, thank you, Rachna. Actually, we do plan to offer some amount of one-on-one mentorship to the right students. Uh, I feel like a good mentor is like a good teacher. They could come from so many sources. Personally, myself, I've never been afraid to go and ask any successful person I know in the field if they would help me. And to my delight, most people have been very helping. They've liked it that I've taken the initiative to come and ask them to help me, and they've been happy to help. So a lot of accomplished, successful people, one of the ways they like giving back to the community is to be able to mentor, to help younger people go through the same journey that they've been in. They've been in our shoes in the past when they started, and they like sharing their knowledge, their experience. They find it fulfilling and rewarding. Personally, I don't have the time for one-on-one mentorship now, but in the last several years, I've helped many people in real estate. Whoever's come to me, I've tried to help them in whatever way I can. So I think you got to just be brave to ask people you admire, you see doing well, and you might be surprised they will just say yes and be able to help you.
Thank you, Rachna and Anuja. Maybe I can add to that a little bit because I've done, like, Ravi, I have been in your footsteps, did my PhD. Then, while doing my postdoc, I wanted to change my path. So, mentors, or I would say even not even mentors, networking is very, very important, especially if you're trying to do something which is unconventional and out of the area of expertise you're currently in. So I would suggest, just go on LinkedIn and just try to find the area that you're interested in, try to find people who are accomplished. Just send a note, send a request to connect, and send a note saying, hey, I would like to go to this area. And you send those out to around 10 people, maybe one or two responds, and then you create that connection. You can do informational sessions with them. There's a lot of opportunities nowadays, especially with the world being virtual now. That opportunity has opened. I'll put in the chat box a link to a site called Social Scientist, Ravi, which is for finding mentors in STEM sectors and entrepreneurship sectors. So you can take a look there. And also to all the resources in our website, they also have excellent resources for mentors as well, apart from what we would be trying to do. So just to give you an idea.
Yeah, thank you very much to all of you, especially Manali. And yeah, that resources will be helpful. I will look for them if means it's. Thank you very much.
I don't see any. Oh, wait. Okay, so I got another question. So, how do you strike a balance between professional and personal life? I think Rachna, you would be happy to answer this.
No worries. Sure, Manali. Uh, well, as we discussed earlier, the term work-life balance is pretty fancy, but you have to really balance yourself. You have to prioritize stuff. My day starts, um, well, nowadays it's different, but when my kids were young, my day used to start from dropping them to school, going to my business meetings, coming back to my clients, again, planning to drop them off, pick them up, whatever, running to different activities. So plan it, planning. Planning will be the key to make it successful.
I want to add here, like Rachna said earlier, planning and prioritizing. Everybody has like a fixed amount of time in the day. I see a lot of my own friends wasting a lot of time doing what I don't know. But if you prioritize, if you set a daily goal and you prioritize those daily goals, when you start accomplishing them, that will give you further positive energy to set bigger goals, and you will be spending more and more of your time accomplishing those goals. So I feel like learning to prioritize is one of those important life skills in the life of an entrepreneur.
Thank you for those wonderful advices. With that, we are probably at the concluding stage. So I'd like to invite back Navida on screen. And Navida, if you would like to take it from here.
Yeah, thank you, Manali. I actually did have a couple of questions myself. One thing that we didn't touch upon was philanthropy. So I know, Rachna, you're very active in several organizations. Anuja, you're very active. It's not like after you developed, Anuja, after you developed your successful real estate portfolio, you didn't just sit back and relax and say, okay, I made it. I've done what I wanted to accomplish. You're still very active in starting things and trying to help others. And Rachna, of course, you with Glamorous Mom Foundation, and then also the Detroit, Michigan Women's Association. Those are causes that are near and dear to your heart. And I find that when I talk to women entrepreneurs, many times, especially ones who are established, who are still not in the phase of trying to make their business successful, many times they're the ones who are starting these programs to help other women. And that's always so nice to see. So Rachna, why do you do this? Why do you, what motivates you you already have a lot of stuff on your plate. Anuja, you already have a lot of stuff on your plate. Why do you want to do this?
See, for me, why I do the philanthropy work, and I was the co-founder of the Detroit Indian Women Association. The main reason for that was that the struggles I have gone through to establish myself and be where I am right now. And if I can benefit somebody, it doesn't have to be a nonprofit. You don't have to start a 501c3 to be a mentor or helping someone. But to help the community, help the other people, I think giving back to the community has to be a good part of your daily routine too. And if it helps me, it feeds my brain and my heart, and I love it. Basically, I like it to help others. So I think that's the reason I started the Detroit Indian Women Association, to empower women. And me being an entrepreneur in the fashion industry, I've given platform to many, many women's last 16 years via my fashion shows. Any shape, size, body is welcome to walk in my show. I don't need skinny models. I'm portraying my designs, which can be worn by any woman. So that's empowering, that's helping the community, that's helping one individual overcome their fear of being tall, short, chubby, whatever, so, and helping through Glamorous Mom to the vulnerables or the needy. We every other Sunday, twice in a month or so, we go to downtown Detroit and donate stuff to homeless people. You should see the smile on their face. You should see how thankful they are for just a toothbrush, just a mask. So these are the people who need your help. And if I am able to help them, why not? Yeah, I'm not one of them. I'm glad, thank God, right? So if I'm able to help them live their daily life, why should not I?
Yeah, I would agree with what Rachna said, that it's positive reinforcement for you. It like feeds your heart and your mind when you help other people. For me, I've always like stuck to fields, one or two fields which have personally been kind of related to the things I do. So women empowerment is like my big passion project, close to my heart. It's not just a buzzword for me. I actually feel very strongly about it. So I started a networking platform for other women entrepreneurs. And the things we've been able to do on the platform have really been very helpful, creative, fed me with positive energy. Uh, Being able to attract a lot of like-minded women who share their stories, who enjoy learning from other people's experiences. Creating that platform was a very enjoyable thing for me to do. So it gives me back a lot of positive creative energy. So it's like a loop. Um, I grew up in the ISKCON system back home in Mumbai. Going to the temple on Sunday was like out of our routine. There was one time there was riots in Mumbai, and the whole city was closed, but we still went to the temple that Sunday. So it was just like a ingrained thing growing up, and I thought I need to be. I need to keep that alive. I need to keep it going. I want my own daughter to also have faith in the ISKCON system, to be a Krishna devotee, and that was a reason I joined the ISKCON temple. So I feel like you're drawn to these things because they have a personal relation for you. You have some connection to it, and the more you do it, the more it gives you positive energy to create even more of it. Those are the things that I get involved in.
Yes, thank you. It's always wonderful to see women who have made it give back and connect back to the community, to their communities.
I'd like to add a little more to that. Um, I mentioned a little bit about the mask mission, what we did in the pandemic time in March last year, 2020. So just in putting some more light to that is that I started this sewing of mask. I started sewing a couple of masks for friends and family when we were in lockdown in the early stages. For about a week, I was selling them. Then after a week, people started calling me and they were like so much in need, especially doctors and nurses and people who work on front lines. They were still out there working. So I just felt that this is not the time to make money. So I started the mission, converted that into a mission of sewing mask, and I had 75 volunteers working out of their homes, sewing on their home sewing machine. Almost 45 of them were pretty consistent, who lasted with me for full 4 months of mask mission journey. And we have sewn and donated over 11,000 masks, scrub hats, and gowns nationwide, including the USNS Navy ship, which was docked in New York during that time. Our donation went over there too, and even our troops, soldiers in Afghanistan, couple of places, hospitals nationwide, Tennessee, California, everywhere. There's a whole list on my website with all that. And then the community helped and supported me in return where they helped me with their volunteering services as well as with the donations. So my fundraiser on Facebook, just on a personal page, it collected $15,000, over $15,000. That helped me fund the mission and I could run it successfully. So that was another part of my life journey and giving back to the community. I was even rewarded with the officer's coin from Macomb County. Um, oh, I forgot the name. Macomb County officers. It's the officer's coin. Basically, officers get it. So they have rewarded me with that coin. And of course, media helped a lot too. So when you do something or give back to the community, and especially from your heart, not just for the sake of it, it does get noticed and you will get rewarded for it.
Yes, it's always nice to see that, especially in today's world when so much is about the bottom line. And it's always nice to see stories like this and hear from entrepreneurs like both of you. And so that brings me to my other point. Just very quickly, I wanted to make, Rachna, what you were saying about quality becoming so low across so many brands, and I see it happening everywhere. That places that used to sell quality clothing, now I go in there and then like, what is this? What is this material that they're trying to sell me now? And it's so disappointing because I think there are many shoppers out there who are willing to pay for things that are of quality, willing to pay to support other families who manufacture all this clothing for us. And so I just wanted to say that I am glad you are sticking with it and not compromising on your quality. And I hope you don't mind if I share this wonderful image I found of you on Facebook. I absolutely love this image.
I love it too.
Yeah, I was going through your feed and I was like, that's so fantastic. And I also loved, what was with it. Unfortunately, I can't see it on my screen anymore, but oh yeah. Everyone chases happiness, but few understand where it comes from. Happiness comes once you buy your favorite sari. Yeah, so I absolutely love that. And I wanted to wish you success in all your future endeavors. I think what you're doing is fantastic and inspiring. It was great to have you on the show. Great to hear from you. And thank you, Anuja, for moderating this event and contributing your own experiences. Thank you, Manali, also. And so I would like to encourage all of you, all of the participants, to go to our website to learn more about Win Step Forward, about Women's Empowerment Campaign, about Rachna. And we have several resources on our website. Go there and attend our other sessions, our last two sessions, the next two Saturdays. And hopefully you'll be hearing more from us in entrepreneurship. That's all I have to say, Manali. I think we can wrap up for today.
Thank you, Navida.
Thank you, Rachna and Anuja, for joining.
Thank you, ladies. It's been a pleasure talking here, and I'm available if any of the participants would love to have a one-on-one. Please reach out to me. I'll make time. I'll make sure I'll make time for you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rachna.
We'll be collecting the information, and Rachna will be contacting you soon. So, thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a good day. Bye.